everyone, Chrissy here at A Little Glam, A Lot of Mom. Welcome back or welcome to this channel. If you're new around here, I'm a homeschooling mom of 5, 6 to 17 years old, and I've been officially homeschooling for 6 years. Last year, I shared a few reels or shorts about our family project where we set goals and collectively as a family earn merit badges upon completion of mastering set goal. Because it's my life's work to raise naturalist humans, our merit badges are in pursuit of becoming naturalists. I've received several questions about this project, and so in today's video, I'm answering them. So I'm sure this concept reminds you of a big organization. That's right, the Scouts, Boys or Girl Scouts. This idea is similar, and so I recommend using the Scouts as inspiration. On scouting.org website, you'll find a merit badge tab, and there you can get ideas for merit badges. There are several pages to sift through, even organized by categories. Some of the topics that I see are American business, animal science, aviation, archery, architecture, composite materials, cooking, cycling, digital technology, disability, awareness, environmental science, athletics, genealogy, geology, golf, hiking, inventing. So merit badges can be customized to fit your family and lifestyle. Merit badges can be in academics, for example, awarding merit badges for a certain amount of books read, or for completing a chemistry project, or a badge for the periodic table, or for a science fair project. There's technology, coding, and robotics. You can earn merit badges in athletics if that's important to your family. After a season of soccer, baseball, basketball, archery, sailing, you get the point. There's honor society badges in strength and courage and honesty, or clubs like chess, or hobbies like coin collecting, geocaching. Again, we are in the pursuit of being master naturalists, and so our family's badge project mostly falls in the environmentalist science merits. So I thought I'd start by sharing with you a list of categories of some ideas that I've come up with for future and some merits we've already earned. And then I'll show you how I make the merit badges. So again, environmental science like oceanography, deforestation. I have some ideas for some outdoor survival like foraging, making a campfire, pitching a tent, outdoor cooking, fishing, land navigation, and knots. You can also approach this in the challenge type of idea or outdoor adventures. So for example, kayaking for a mile, zip lining, mountain climbing, canoeing, a night trek, cave exploration, stargazing. I'd also love for the kids and I to learn outdoor skills like whittling, gardening, which we already do, tree climbing, bird watching, and learning about medicinal herbs. There's safety badges for fire safety and gun safety, first aid, even traffic safety, and badges for main lessons or studies. Now, again, this is super open-ended and can be about any study that interests you or your family. Alright, so let's go through some of the badges that we've earned already so that you can kind of get an idea of the requirements. So we had the opportunity to rescue or adopt in 2 native baby turtles that are not legally supposed to be domesticated. So we were able to grow them and bring them back to health and then release them. Every year we participate in the 1,000 Hours Outside Challenge, and although you can purchase a badge from the 1,000 Hours Outside group, I made our own, and this year we're aiming for another 1,000 hours, and I am using the 1,000 Hours Outside app to log and track our hours. Last year we planted and grew a big pollinator garden, and so we got a pollinator badge for that. We were also immersed in a huge study on butterflies, and so my requirements for this badge were a little bit more specific. It was being able to identify 25 species of butterflies in the wild, and for that we used several of our field guides and also making a butterfly feeder and hanging a butterfly house. And that also went hand in hand with planting a pollinator garden and planting several of the host plants. We earned an Earth Day badge for participating in 5 beach cleanups. You may have seen most recently our Luna badge. Bella earned a badge that would fall under astronomy, but a bit more specific is I wanted her to learn the moon phases. So we set a goal of tracking and logging the moon phases for 30 days, the month of January, and mastering the knowledge of the phases. We used a combination of several different resources for this goal. And here is the lunar calendar that she created for January. So a future example I have here is to earn an aviary badge. We can be real broad and just do a bird unit study, right, and follow a curriculum and earn an aviary badge. Or it could be specific to just learning all about owls, maybe being able to identify the most common owls in your state and dissecting an owl pellet. Backyard birds, that's one that we have coming up and that we actually started working on last year. Luna's goal was to be able to identify 6 birds out of this book by characteristics, call, and or behavior. She even made a little journal or book about the birds in this book, and so she was able to do 6, and now I would like to add another 6 before she can earn a backyard bird badge. I would write down that the requirements for this backyard bird badge would be to journal about 12 common backyard birds, being able to identify them by characteristics, sounds, or behavior, and to put up a bird feeder and bird bath. Another example of a project that's in the works, although I have not designed a merit badge yet, but some of you may know that I'm practicing the habit of nature journaling with the kids. So the requirement for this badge is a minimum of 9 journal entries per season for the 4 seasons of the year, and upon completion, they will earn a nature journaling badge. All right, and one more example here. Some of you may know that we like to practice entomology as a hobby, and so the requirements for this badge is going to be easy, just using field guides to identify 25 bugs, and using a bug journal to log observations. All right, I've given you some examples. Now let's move on to sharing some resources that we utilize to inspire our badges, not just in creating them, but towards attaining them. Project-based books like Let's Get Gardening by DK. There are 30 easy gardening projects for kids, one of my kids' favorite resources for gathering ideas. Roots, Shoots, Buckets, and Boots, another resource, but this one requires a little more skill or more adult help, making it a good resource for family projects. We already began this activity book, turned this book into a beehive, reading through it, working through all the activities, and when we finish, a visit to a bee farm for a bee expert badge. The Julia Rothman collection is just a treasure to have in your home. It's a feast of inspiration for nature studies. So these books are not only useful for this badge project, but also for introducing your family to nature studies, period. You could build an entire year of nature studies with the title Nature Anatomy alone as a spine, and there are many titles in this series. We use them as reference books and inspiration for our nature journaling illustrations as well as badges. This resource is just a must-have for any naturalist family. Obviously, field guides, always a must for getting out in the field, and if you're studying nature, you must be out in the field, right? We use field guides for merit badge challenges like identifying 25 butterflies or shells or birds. To get the most out of field guides, please be sure to source guides that are specific to your region, better yet, state. This is important for making those real-life connections. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for butterflies or birds or plants that you likely won't see in the environment around you because they're natives to the West region or to Europe, and that's going to be disappointing for your family. And don't forget about utilizing that plethora of resources most of us homeschoolers already have for unit studies. For example, about 2 years ago, my kids had a huge interest in the forest, and specifically, we went down a rabbit trail of learning about tracks and scats. So we're going to be working through our games and books again to refresh and attain a track and scat identification badge, which would fall under that outdoor survival category of merits. Learning what it takes to be a park ranger, along with learning and attaining some of the skills that go with that career, like land navigation. And of course, national parks, that's always a common merit. For us specifically, it's visiting Florida state parks and creating at least 5 state park brochures. Also, don't be shy to outsource challenges. For example, zoos have so many clubs and conservation type of events to join. 1,000 Hours Outside Challenge, of course. We joined a local nonprofit conservation group where we learned about sea turtles, investigating nests for mortality and survival rates. We learned about light pollution. We're almost done with a presentation on educating the public, and we've earned a sea turtle conservation badge. Let's move on to the process of making and creating the merit badges. But first I want to start with the tapestry. It's also made of felt. Simply stitched the edges just to give it a finished border and attached it to a stick and twine to hang on the wall. So we begin with the challenge or the requirement ideas together. So agreeing on requirements needed to earn the badge. Then we log our badges and requirements in a notebook, as you can see here. And this is where we also come up with a general design idea together. From here, I can translate it to a physical badge using felt. I think this would also be fun as pins, patches, or even stickers. For those of you with a Cricut machine, put those to use. Alright, so here's the example of translating the badge to a physical badge. You'll see that the kids came up with several trees for our 2 and 2 hiking challenge, and then we wrote down the requirements. So to earn this badge, you must complete 2 hikes in 2 weeks before February 28th, 2023, 1 mile per hike minimum. The supplies I utilize to make the felt badges I keep together in a basket. The main supply is merino wool felt. This is 100% wool, so no synthetic materials. It's just softer, it ages better, literally soft like butter. Wool roving, again 100% wool. I use this for a lot of the needle embellishments on the face of the badge. I keep a stitch guide handy for hand stitching or embroidery embellishments as well. Of course, needles and thread. I use cotton embroidery thread. I also enjoy using small glass beads for embellishments. Basic tools like scissors for cloth, so sewing scissors, needle felting guards, sewing pins. So I owe Ailani, my teenager, a badge. If you follow us on Instagram, you may know that Ailani has taken over a food garden bed. Her goal was to plant 3 tomato types and tend to that garden bed by herself, which she has. So this morning I'm going to sip my smoothie, make her badge, and I turned on the camera to share the process with you. I start off with 2 circular pieces for the badge. One is the front or the face and the backing. I chose this badge today because it's a simpler one, mostly needing some needle felting, embellishment, and some basic hand stitching. So this is a process and it's ugly before it starts making sense, so patience is key here. I also want to encourage you with saying that your family will appreciate your handmade love. I'm not trained or naturally gifted at this. I wasn't taught handwork growing up. I've only been self-taught and practicing for about 4 to 5 years so that I can pass it on to my kids. And I have, and I am. And it's a wonderful learning process for all of us. It takes me back to that quote where one teaches to learn. So just like any other skill, it just takes practice and patience. I do recommend, however, starting with a basic stitching tutorial before attempting any type of embroidery. There are many to watch and choose from here on YouTube University. Alright, so I know this basically looks like a heart at this point, but again, trusting the process and that unfolding here. I like the look of wool roving and felt and embroidery, so I'm going to stop the needle felting here and add a stem that I cut out of felt. And I'm going to attach it with a few basic running stitches. I avoid using hot glue, and the face is done. So another step that I wanted to show you is that before I sew on the back and face together, I create a little pocket for a safety pin. And this is one way that I attach the badges to the tapestry. However, you don't have a good view of that, and I noticed that here while editing this clip, but don't worry, I show what it looks like once I'm done. So to attach the face and the back, I like to use a box stitch. Again, I really recommend you look up tutorials for basic stitching techniques because this is not a tutorial. You could definitely do a running stitch here, and an over stitch works too, but the box stitch just looks the cleanest to me. There you go. The badge is all done. It was really simple, this badge. I love this chunky little tomato, and I'm glad I went with a purple back. I wasn't sure about that pairing, but it does add a subtle pop. Here's the little pocket for the safety pin that I mentioned. It's just a square piece of felt of the same color of felt as the backing, and I attached it with a running stitch. Then I can slide the back of the safety pin in, and the opening attaches to the tapestry. Alright guys, that's the end of this video. I really hope that I was able to capture and share the essence of this project and what it means for our family. I came up with this project idea just as a way to not just inspire but also document and celebrate, right, the merits and the skills that we are acquiring in our pursuit of being a master naturalist family. You may ask yourself why I speak so much about becoming a naturalist family or being naturalists or raising naturalist children, and that's because my husband and I agree. We feel in our hearts that our work, our purpose is to raise children that connect to the Creator through creation. Our Creator, God, He communicates to us through nature. It's in the feeling of awe as we watch a sunset, a sunrise, or a wave crashing onto the shore. Just as an artist speaks to us through his or her art, the Almighty speaks straight to our hearts through His masterpiece of all creation. And He is the greatest artist of all time. But it's also that in sharing my love for nature with others is my way of sharing the gospel. Anyway, all this to say that I hope you are moved, I hope you are inspired by today's video and sharing our Naturalist Family Badge Project. And if you decide to take on a merit badge project yourself, maybe you're not calling it the same thing. Maybe it's not a Naturalist Family Badge Project, but whatever it is that fits your family, if you decide to jump on board, please be sure to tag me. I would absolutely love to see your creations and what your family is up to. The best way to tag me or private message me is through Instagram or also through email. All of the information and links, everything you need to find that was mentioned in today's video will be in the description box down below. And if you did enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And again, thank you so much for your love.